Somewhere out there, a used Yamaha with a detuned R1 superbike engine is sitting on a lot for $4,000, while some poor soul next door finances a brand new bike that will start rattling by year 3. Yamaha built some of the most bulletproof engines on the planet, then let dealerships bury them under piles of shiny, overpriced new metal. That is a crime, and today we are fixing it. 12 used Yamahas, real prices, real reliability facts, zero fluff. And number 10 hides actual leader bike, world superbike DNA, inside a bike most people mistake for a mid-size commuter. If you want a machine that outlasts your car payment, keep watching. Opening the list at number 12, the Yamaha SR400. We are opening with the bike that refuses to modernize, and that is exactly the point. The SR400, re-released between 2015 and 2018, is powered by a modern fuel-injected 399 cubic centimeters AIIR cooled single. While it gives you the classic theater of a kickstart-only ignition, the modern fuel injection means it fires instantly without any vintage carburetor drama. This is a motorcycle that looks almost identical to something your grandfather might have ridden, and that is not an insult. That is a compliment wrapped in chrome. This bike is cheap because modern riders see kickstart and run in the other direction, assuming it is some kind of punishment reserved for masochists and history teachers. It is not. Air-cooled singles like this have been running for decades with nothing more than valve checks and prompt oil changes, and the simplicity is the whole appeal. There is barely anything on this engine that can fail, mostly because there is barely anything on the engine, period. No radiator to crack, no water pump to seize, no wiring harness dense enough to require a map and a flashlight. Owners also love this bike because it is basically a blank canvas. The cafe racer and scrambler build communities have adopted the SR400 as their go-to platform for decades, precisely because the simple frame and engine layout make custom work refreshingly straightforward. You will find more aftermarket seats, tanks, and exhaust systems for this bike than for almost anything else on this list, which means personalizing it will not require you to reinvent the wheel or fabricate your own wheel for that matter. You can find one used for roughly $3,000 to $4,200, and it is the perfect machine for retro enthusiasts, cafe racer builders, and anyone who wants a raw mechanical connection to the road without a computer translating every twist of the throttle. If you have ever wanted to build your own custom cafe racer without destroying a bike that still has value, this is your canvas. But if kickstarting a bike sounds like too much commitment first thing in the morning, do not worry. Our next entry keeps that same simplicity while adding something the SR never had. Being pocket-friendly at number 11, Yamaha XT250. The XT250 has been quietly available since 2008, and it is still in production today, which tells you something about how good the formula is. It runs a single-cylinder, 249 cubic centimeters air-cooled engine. But unlike the SR, this one gets fuel injection, meaning cold mornings do not turn into a wrestling match with a choke lever. Here is why it is cheap. Small dual sports do not have the cool factor that gets clicks and likes on forums, so buyers overlook them constantly in favor of bigger, louder adventure bikes with names that sound like they belong in an action movie. But this engine runs so cool and so understressed that catastrophic failures are almost unheard of. Owners routinely report needing nothing more than basic servicing for years of hard trail use, and the lightweight of the whole package means the engine is rarely, if ever, asked to do more than casually stroll along. The ergonomics deserve a mention too. This is a genuinely small, approachable bike with a low seat height that makes flat footing at stops trivial for almost any rider, and a narrow chassis that slips between trees on tight, single track without a fight. It is also light enough that picking it back up after an inevitable dirt road tip-over does not require a gym membership or a friend with a strong back. Used prices sit around $2,500 to $3,500, making it an easy pickup for trail riders, campers, and urban explorers who want something light enough to pick up when they inevitably drop it in the dirt. This is the bike you buy when you want adventure without an adventure-sized repair bill. Picture it. You buy the bike. It looked clean. It sounded great. 3 weeks later, the bills start. A worn chain, tired forks, a service the seller never mentioned. That's thousands gone on a bike you already paid full price for. Our inspection checklist catches every one of those before you pay, walking the bike like a mechanic. Spend $49 now or lose thousands later. Scan the QR on the right or tap the link in the description. Don't let a hidden problem drain your wallet. Before we move to number 10, hit that subscribe button right now. It takes 2 seconds and it is the single biggest thing that keeps this channel finding you more of these hidden gems. Unleashing affordable potential at number 10, the Yamaha FZ1. Now we are stepping up in displacement and things get interesting. The FZ1, built from 2006 to 2015, uses an inline-4 engine, displacing 998 cubic centimeters. Read that again. That is essentially litter bike territory hiding inside a naked standard that most people mistake for a mid-size commuter at a glance. Why is this thing cheap? Because it is built on a detuned version of the legendary R1 superbike engine, and most casual shoppers do not realize that history. Yamaha took that race-proven architecture and reworked it for street manners, longevity, and everyday usability, which means you get superbike DNA running at a fraction of the stress level a track-focused machine would demand. The suspension is also fully adjustable front and rear, a feature you rarely find on a bike this affordable, meaning you can actually dial in the ride instead of just accepting whatever the factory decided in 2006. Ergonomically, the FZ1 splits the difference nicely between an aggressive sport bike and a relaxed standard. You get a slightly forward lean, wide handlebars for confident low-speed control, and a seat that will not have you begging for mercy after 2 hours on the interstate. It is one of those rare naked bikes that genuinely works as a weekend canyon carver and a 500-mile touring companion. You can find one used for around $4,000 to $5,500, and it is an outstanding choice for open road tours and sport touring riders who want blistering acceleration without paying liter bike premiums or insurance rates. Imagine explaining to your friends that your commuter bike shares its heart with an actual world superbike platform and watching their face slowly change. Speaking of engines with serious racing pedigree, our next bike takes that super sport DNA and turns the aggression dial even higher. Making the dirt cheap list at number 9, the Yamaha YZF-R6 early years. The early YZF-R6, built between 2003 and 2005, is an inline-4 screaming its way to 600 cubic centimeters of pure high-revving fury with a red line that will have you checking twice to make sure you read the tachometer correctly. This thing was built to dominate racetracks, and it still can, provided you are willing to actually ride it the way it wants to be ridden. It is cheap because these early models get a reputation as track bikes, which scares off riders who assume that means fragile and high maintenance, the moto equivalent of owning a racehorse that needs constant babying. The truth is the opposite. These engines feature forged connecting rods and a genuinely proven transmission that can handle aggressive riding for years, provided you actually change the oil like a responsible adult instead of treating maintenance schedules as more of a suggestion. The riding position is committed, full stop. You are leaned forward over the tank, wrists carrying real weight, and the pegs are set high and rearward for maximum cornering clearance. This is not the bike for a leisurely coffee run, and honestly, if you buy one expecting comfort, that is on you. But on a twisty back road, this chassis and engine combination will make you feel like a hero, right up until you remember you paid used hatchback money for the privilege. Realistic used pricing lands around $3,500 to $4,500, making this an excellent option for sport bike purists and track day enthusiasts who are on a strict budget but refuse to compromise on performance. This is not a bike for everyone, and that is exactly why it is still this affordable. If revving to the moon is not your style and you would rather feel a punch of torque at low RPM, our next bike flips the entire personality on its head. Cruising in at a bargain price for number 8, Yamaha Bolt R-Spec. Welcome to Yamaha's answer to the Harley-Davidson crowd. The Bolt R-Spec, produced from 2014 to 2020, runs a V-twin engine at 942 cubic centimeters, air-cooled and dripping with classic cruiser attitude, minus the mortgage-sized monthly payment that usually comes attached to that attitude. This bike sits on the used market cheap because buyers assume Japanese cruiser means it lacks soul compared to the American originals, as if soul is something exclusively bolted onto bikes built in Milwaukee. What they are missing is that the air-cooled engine is famously understressed, meaning it simply does not work hard enough to wear itself out. And the belt drive system requires close to zero routine maintenance. No chain lube, no greasy hands, just ride. The R-Spec trim in particular, ADDS Premium, touches like reservoir rear shocks and aggressive cast aluminum mag wheels that genuinely look like they belong on something twice the price. The low, flat seat and mid-mounted foot controls make this an easy bike to throw a leg over, and the compact dimensions mean it does not feel like piloting a parade float the way some full-size cruisers do. It is a bobber-styled machine, meaning it is intentionally stripped down, which also means less bodywork to eventually crack, fade, or cost you money down the line. Used examples go for approximately $3,500 to $4,800, and this bike is perfect for riders who want the classic cruiser experience and easy ergonomics without the premium price tag or the occasional temperamental reputation of the competition. It looks the part, sounds the part, and costs a fraction of the part. Cruisers are great for style, but what if you want something that can also carve a canyon road without complaint? Our next entry does exactly that. Hitting the sweet spot at number 7 is the Yamaha FZ-09 MT-09 first generation. Now we arrive at one of the most beloved middleweight platforms Yamaha has ever built. The first generation FZ-09, sold from 2014 to 2016, uses the iconic cross-plane triple engine known as the CP3, displacing 847 cubic centimeters, an engine configuration that genuinely changed how people talk about mid-sized naked bikes. This bike is cheap simply because it is no longer the newest version, and buyers chase shiny new model years, even when the older ones are just as capable, sometimes more capable once you factor in the lower price and simpler electronics package. The CP3 engine has become legendary for its character and durability. As long as the cam chain tensioner gets serviced on schedule, and it is a cheap, well-documented fix that most competent mechanics can knock out in an afternoon, this engine will rack up massive mileage without major issues. The riding position is upright and aggressive at the same time somehow. You sit tall with a commanding view of traffic, but the pegs are set high enough that you can still drag your knee if the mood strikes you on a Sunday morning. The torque delivery from that triple engine is what people talk about most, an almost snarling pull from low RPM that makes the bike feel considerably larger than its actual displacement suggests. It is also worth noting that the original suspension was famously soft. So many owners upgrade the fork springs or rear shock, well documented, and transforms the handling completely. You are looking at used prices around $4,500 to $500, and this bike is an absolute blast for experienced thrill seekers who want an aggressive, torquey, wheelie-happy naked bike that punches way above its price point. Few bikes on the used market deliver this much grin per dollar. Before we get into the top 6, go ahead and hit that like button. It genuinely helps push this video to more riders looking for exactly this kind of advice. Locking down the cheapest cruiser value at number 6, Yamaha V-Star 650 Dragstar. Let us slow things down with a proper beginner-friendly cruiser. The V-Star 650, also badged the Dragstar, has been around since 1998 and remained in production all the way to 2020. It runs an air-cooled V-twin displacing 649 cubic centimeters, an engine that has quietly powered an entire generation of new riders into the sport without a single dramatic headline. Why is this bike so affordable? Simple. It has been in production for so long and in such high numbers that the used market is flooded with them, which keeps prices low despite the bike being genuinely well built. The air-cooled V-twin is practically indestructible, and Yamaha equipped it with a low-maintenance shaft drive instead of a chain, meaning you skip the greasy Sunday afternoon chain adjustments entirely and just, well, ride the thing. The low seat height and light overall weight make this an especially popular choice among shorter riders and those returning to motorcycling after years away, since confidence at a stoplight matters just as much as horsepower on the highway. The classic styling, complete with a teardrop tank and chrome accents, has also aged remarkably well, meaning a 20-year-old example can still look genuinely sharp with a simple wash and polish rather than a full restoration. Realistic pricing sits around $2,000 to $3,000, making this an outstanding first cruiser for shorter riders or anyone who wants something easy to customize and even easier to live with day to day. It is the motorcycle equivalent of a reliable old friend who never asks for much and never lets you down. If a 649cc V-twin sounds appealing, but you want something a bit more athletic underneath you, stick around, because our next bike shares familial DNA with a certified track weapon. Sneaking in as number 5, Yamaha FZ6 FZ6R built between 2004 and 2010, the FZ6 and FZ6R run an inline-4 engine at 600 cubic centimeters, and here is the fun part. It borrows a detuned version of the YZF-R6 engine. We already talked about a few entries ago, essentially giving commuters a taste of supersport engineering without the supersport temperament. This bike is cheap because it wears commuter styling rather than aggressive sport bike bodywork, so it gets completely overlooked by buyers chasing looks over substance, the moto equivalent of judging a book by a slightly boring cover. But underneath that unassuming shape is a bottom end renowned for being absolutely bulletproof, capable of racking up tens of thousands of miles with minimal drama, largely because the detuning process took an already over-engineered race motor and asked even less of it. The FZ6R wrapped the architecture in a full-coverage sport fairing for excellent wind protection, offering a relaxed alternative to the sharper, half-faired FZ6 standard. Either version offers a comfortable, slightly upright seating position, generous legroom, and a seat that will not have you shifting uncomfortably after an hour on the highway, which is more than you can say for its more track-focused sibling. You can pick one up used for around $2,500 to $3,500, making it ideal for budget-conscious highway commuters who want a comfortable, multi-purpose motorcycle that can handle grocery runs on Tuesday and a weekend canyon carve on Saturday. Nobody at the coffee shop is going to be impressed by it, and that is precisely why it is such a steal. Speaking of engines with hidden pedigree, our next bike takes things up a full displacement class while staying shockingly affordable. Securing the deal at number 4, Yamaha FZ-07 MT-07. Here is a bike that consistently gets called one of the best value motorcycles ever built. Full stop, not just in the used market, but arguably in the history of the modern middleweight class. Sold from 2015 to 2020, the FZ-07 runs Yamaha's cross-plane parallel twin, known as the CP2, at 689 cubic centimeters. Why is it cheap? Honestly, it just is not flashy. No exotic fairings, no superbike branding, just a simple, torquey twin in a lightweight chassis that somehow manages to weigh less than almost anything else in its displacement class. But that CP2 engine has become legendary in its own right for both torque delivery and sheer durability. Riders have thrown genuinely hard abuse at these motors, including endless wheelies in stunt riding, and catastrophic failures remain rare, which says a great deal about how conservatively this engine was engineered underneath its playful character. The chassis is where this bike really shines. It is featherweight compared to most rivals, making it astonishingly easy to flick through tight corners, filter through traffic, or simply muscle around a parking lot without breaking a sweat. The seating position is upright and neutral, comfortable enough for commuting, yet sporty enough to have genuine fun on a Sunday back road. A rare combination that few bikes at this price point manage to pull off convincingly. Used examples run about $4,000 to $5,000, and this bike is perfect for riders stepping up from smaller machines who want torque-heavy, wheelie-friendly fun without needing a mortgage to afford the insurance. It is the motorcycle equivalent of a sleeper hit that everybody eventually recommends to their friends. We are almost at the top 3, and honestly, the next bike might be the single sharpest beginner sport bike on this entire list. Grabbing a bargain at number 3, the Yamaha YZF-R3. The YZF-R3, sold from 2015 to 2022, carries a parallel twin engine at 321 cubic centimeters, and it looks like it belongs on a racetrack despite being one of the friendliest bikes on this list. A bit like a golden retriever wearing a leather jacket. This bike is cheap because it gets lumped in with beginner bikes in people's minds. And beginner bikes depreciate fast since new riders often sell within a year or two of buying, usually right around the time they realize they actually love riding and want something bigger. But do not let the aggressive styling or the beginner label fool you. It shares the famously reliable, high-revving 321cc platform, and it requires minimal maintenance beyond standard oil changes to keep running strong for years. The fully faired bodywork gives genuinely excellent wind protection for a bike this small, and the low seat height combined with a light overall weight makes this one of the most confidence-inspiring machines you can put a new rider on. It is also a legitimate contender in beginner track day classes, meaning the same bike that gets you to work Monday through Friday